we just heard this morning from Nikki Haley on a radio interview where she offered, as you said, Kate, her sharpest critiques yet of the former president.
He's made it chaotic. He's made it self-absorbed. He's made people dislike and judge each other. He's left that a president should have moral clarity and know the difference between right or wrong. And he's just toxic.
Obviously, this is a critical moment for Nikki Haley. She has been fundraising in New York. She'll head to Palm Beach fundraising today. She is really trying to do everything that she can to convince voters that it is worth keeping her campaign alive. And another thing that she is doing, her campaign, is launching a new effort to cast former President Trump and Joe Biden as grumpy old men. Now, we have seen her tie these two politicians together, increasingly so, over the last month or so. But this is a new effort to try and really cast them in the same vein.
Joining us right now for more is CNN political analyst, New York Times national politics reporter Estad Herndon, and national politics reporter with Axios, Sophia Kai. Let's talk about Nikki Haley in just 1 second. I want to focus real first, though, on this battle for union support from Donald Trump and Joe Biden. The fight for union support, Estad, is an interesting one. Biden won the support of the UAW last week, but we know that Donald Trump appeals to union workers, working class voters, and he has since 2016 in a way that Republicans traditionally have not for decades. What do you see here?
Yeah, I think this is clearly going to be one of the battlegrounds we got to think about when it comes to 2024. Remember back in 2016, not only did Donald Trump appeal and pull away some of these rank and file union voters, we saw a real split between union leadership, who was kind of universally backing Hillary Clinton and the Democratic kind of ticket, and then a kind of rank and file breakaway that was more and more interested in Donald Trump. That gap kind of closed in 2020 as Donald Trump's presidency was seen as too chaotic, and Joe Biden was able to win back some of those voters. But I think it's that same split that Donald Trump is targeting again here. Yeah, they understand that they may not get the leadership to line up behind them, but they want to be seen as reaching out for that support. And they think that they can pull away some of the voters on the margins. I would say, as Biden got the UAW endorsement last week, we shouldn't think of union voters in a vacuum. Of course, These are working class voters. These are people who are concerned about kind of kitchen table issues, but the UAW president was also pressured around Biden's stance on calling for a ceasefire on the issues in Gaza and foreign policy. So I think that there are traditionally issues that have been seen as secondary as we focus on more classic groups like union voters and their kind of economic concerns. But I think that that's a line that's increasingly getting blurred as these issues become more and more nationalized, and all of these issues are on the table at once.
It is really, I mean, you're talking, right, if there is a split or a difference, and there would be between winning the support of union leadership and all union members, because Sophia, the Teamsters, I mean, what is it, a union of more than like 1.4 million members. What would an endorsement or just pulling over a lot of support, if not a full-on endorsement from the Teamsters, what would pulling that support mean for Donald Trump if it would happen?
I mean, I think that would be huge. Teamsters endorsed Hillary Clinton previously, and so that would be a real shift in Teamsters leadership. We don't know if that'll happen. We do know that both Biden and Trump are expected to meet with Teamsters. That's really rankling some rank and file union members who are writing letters to say, come on, Trump was not a very pro-union president. And so we see a lot of that split. We saw that in Michigan, where Trump was there in Detroit. He was at a non-union plant because he wasn't able to get, the union leadership to get him to hold his rally at a union plant. And so I think, when you go and talk to those rank and file members, they don't necessarily like that, right? Like both of these Trump and Biden are coming in here and using them as political props. They will vote as they will, and in some cases, regardless of what the leadership will do.
Let's talk about what Kylie Att was reporting, this new move from Nikki Haley. She's really going after, this is new in how she's going after Donald Trump in this way. Toxic, lacks moral clarity. Instead, speaking with Breakfast Club and Charlemagne the God, what do you think of this move by Nikki Haley, Estad?
It's certainly interesting. I mean, yeah, I think you're right that this is the most clear-eyed criticism of Donald Trump we've seen from her, more personal attacks that we have seen from her. And I think the setting is interesting. Choosing to go on the Breakfast Club, do an interview with Charlamagne Tha God. I think it's not a natural Nikki Haley audience. It speaks to someone who very much is still seeing themselves as having a long road in this race, and I think that's consistent with our reporting. She does not have a money problem. There continues to be a kind of elite donor class of the Republican Party who is supporting her. She has a math problem. She has a problem that in South Carolina and in the kind of states coming forward, that the grassroots base of the Republican Party isn't really speaking that same language. And more importantly, a lot of the apparatus of the Republican Party, the state party officials, have really been squeezed since New Hampshire by the Trump campaign to try to wrap this primary up and really name Donald Trump as the presumptive nominee. I saw her in Nashua right before the New Hampshire results, and you could see her ramping up these attacks, lumping Biden and Trump together. But the memes today, the grumpy old man line, I think that shows that she's not going to go down without having her kind of say clearly. I think the what if for the Nikki Haley campaign is, what if she was making these kind of clear contrasts with Donald Trump at the beginning of her campaign, throughout the entirety, not just since he has won Iowa and New Hampshire, and the electoral path for him looks a lot better.
Yeah, and you know what they're thinking? No time to look in that rearview mirror quite yet. We're still running ahead at this moment. Yeah, Sophia, you've been doing reporting and writing about what you describe as Haley's Hail Mary strategy in the primary. Bouncing off of what Ested was pointing to there, talk to me about that strategy and what you're hearing about it.
I mean, look, it doesn't really work for them to just dwell on Iowa and New Hampshire. They have to show a path forward, not just to their voters, but also to their donors. And so they're looking beyond New Hampshire. They're looking beyond Nevada, where they're not really campaigning, onto South Carolina, onto Michigan, and onto 11 of the Super Tuesday states where there are open primaries or semi-open primaries. And that means that you have Democratic and independent voters who are eligible to vote in some of those states. And I think that is the very narrow and complex path that they are charting, even if it's very unlikely for them.
Yeah, from some of the reporting from the campaign and in your reporting, here's just one of that pieces of data, Sophia. Of the 874 delegates available on Super Tuesday, roughly 2/3 are in states with open or semi-open primaries. Let's see what it all looks like. It's great to see you guys. Thank you so much.